We live in a world where pleasure is so easy to find. It sounds awesome, but it's actually killing your mind and potential every single day. My friend, mastering the art of delayed gratification is the real secret to that fulfilling and successful life you crave for.
The leading indicator of a successful person is the ability to act without anything happening.
I know you may be thinking that your dream life is impossible to make, that you can never live to your fullest potential, but trust me, it is possible, and it's not too late.
If you open up a business and you start eating up all the profits and spending it as fast as you're making it, your business won't last long. You have got to open up the business and ignore the profits.
Listen, I'm not going to waste your time. In this video, I reveal the great danger of instant gratification, how prolonged difficulties with attention can exacerbate it, and how you can start making the changes that will fundamentally change your life. I'm going to give it to you straight. Avoid playing this video in the background and give me your full attention. Why is instant gratification actually a problem? Well, one of the answers lies in our childhood. I've noticed so many parents never really talk about this or try to teach kids the importance of delayed gratification anymore. Instead, many parents I see these days are overwhelmed with earning money, having a social life, meeting their own needs, and raising a child. They therefore often want to satisfy the child quickly and offer them short-term solutions. In the worst case, the tablet is placed in front of their nose. But it wasn't always like this. For example, I remember when my parents would tell me that I could go out and play only if I finished my homework. There were so many other times where I was taught to put a hold on my desires until I finished a chore or homework, and I'm not gonna lie. As a kid, it was frustrating. After all, I just wanted to have fun when I wanted it. It wasn't until I got older that I realized how important these lessons that my parents had taught me, which seemed annoying and pointless at the time, actually were. I have to say it, man, impulse control for so many people today is dead. It feels like 90% of society is going through life with a caveman brain. Me hungry, me eat, me sleepy, me sleep. You know what I mean?
I think that when people truly want to make up their mind to change and they become so conscious of those unconscious thoughts, they would never go unconscious to them again. That's the moment the body is being reconditioned to a new mind.
If you clicked on this video, you might be struggling as well, and I feel you, brother. So let me explain why instant gratification is such a big problem. You might feel like it's not too big of a deal, that ordering fried chicken or scrolling on TikTok whenever you feel like it is just you exercising your freedom. After all, you're an adult, right? But let me tell you, buddy, the consequences become so dangerous when you let it become a habit in your life. One of my friends had his life ruined because he couldn't control his need for instant gratification. We were pals since 5th grade, and he was a smart guy, but he always had this streak of impulsiveness in him. Of course, at that age, no one expects kids to be level-headed and measured, but maybe they should because it was scary to see how things escalated with time. As we got older, he loved partying and blowing off studying for exams until the very last moment. During our final year at university, he just managed to scrape by and almost didn't graduate. It was a crazy time, and I thought the experience would make him see how he needed to stop indulging in fun whenever he felt like it, but that was not to be. He got a job, married his girlfriend, but over the years, I could see his life slowly start to fall apart. He was still living the same way, and after a year, he lost his job because he kept missing deadlines. The last time I spoke to him, he told me about some relationship problems with his wife, and I realized that most of his problems started with the fact that he couldn't control himself. He found it difficult to stick with a task over a long period of time. He couldn't put off satisfying an impulse. He was so used to immediate gratification that anything else seemed pointless. I believe this type of problem is also closely related to the reduced attention span we have today. Brother, if you want to get out of this trap before it's too late, I want to tell you that you gotta start by tackling any underlying issues with attention or impulsivity. It turns out that adults are getting diagnosed with ADHD 4 times faster than kids, and that definitely affects our ability to delay gratification. As you might know, ADHD affects the impulse control areas of your brain, but there are ways to deal with this. Your parents may not have noticed it when you were a kid, but if you're an adult, you have control of your life and you can fix it on your own. If you have already tried to deal with this issue, but felt like you simply can't control your impulsiveness, I'd strongly recommend getting assessed for this condition before anything else. The reason I say this, brother, is that it's a lot more common than you think. In fact, Mayo Clinic says that a lot of adults with ADHD don't even realize they have it. They usually only know that everyday tasks can be challenging. According to this article, symptoms such as impulsiveness, trouble multitasking, or poor planning can be signs of ADHD. Brother, once you start addressing any underlying attention and impulsive tendencies, it makes delaying gratification that much easier. You will be more likely to follow through with the steps it needs. So don't ignore this part. Because let me tell you, the fruits of the delayed gratification life are so worth it. Once you feel that the path is clear and you are managing any symptoms that biologically affect you, then you are very close to beginning this transformational journey. Remember, my friend, this is your moment. Not tomorrow, not next week, but today. Because 1 year from now, you'll either be complaining that you never got started or celebrating all that you've done in the meantime. The choice is yours. This journey can be what changes your life for the better, and I'm going to tell you why in just a moment. But first, I want you to imagine the version of yourself that is absolutely committed to your goals. What would you want to achieve in a year if you didn't get distracted every day? What would that person look like? Please let me know in the comments below. I can tell you from experience, there's nothing better than putting in the effort to become that person you hope to be. Delayed gratification is one of the biggest contributors to long-term success. It literally makes it so much easier to achieve all those goals you've set for yourself. And what's more, there's actual evidence for this. I recently came across an experiment that a Stanford professor conducted with kids. I'm sure you've heard about it too. It's called the marshmallow experiment. These researchers placed a single marshmallow in front of a young child. They told the kid that they could either eat the marshmallow now or wait 15 minutes and have 2 marshmallows. As you can imagine, many kids couldn't control themselves and ate the single marshmallow before the 15 minutes were up. However, there were some kids who delayed eating the single marshmallow. They delayed themselves that instant gratification. In your daily life, wouldn't you agree that you too face multiple situations like these? It could be a choice between scrolling TikTok versus doing the dishes, or something more serious with long-term consequences. What's really interesting about the marshmallow experiment is that those kids who were able to control themselves ended up being much more successful later in life. There have been a ton of follow-up studies, and these kids grew up to have higher SAT scores, better social skills, and more success in life. Brother, if you've ever felt like you ought to be earning more, having better relationships, and enjoying life, I want to tell you that all of it can be unlocked and achieved by delaying gratification. It's like a domino effect that keeps unlocking new gifts for you. All you have to do is deny yourself a little bit. I know that in my life, I could have avoided so much trouble and pain if I had learned this early on, if I had learned to say no to my impulses and the need for immediate satisfaction. I would have achieved so much more. If you are watching this right now, you are very lucky. I didn't have anyone to guide me on this when I was young, but you do. So pay attention, because it's time to learn how to actually start delaying gratification in your life. The first thing I want to share with you is that it's a skill like any other. You should be glad when you hear that, because it means that no matter how old you are or how far gone you think you are, there's a way back. All you need is to hold fast to what I'm about to lay out in front of you over the next few moments. But remember to stay with me till the end, because it's not just about following certain techniques. So over the last few years, I've improved my ability to delay gratification tremendously, and one of the key things for me has been changing my discipline. I made a detailed video about this, which you might want to check out after you've seen this video. However, there were 2 very important elements that really made it click for me. The first one was visualization. I found that visualizing what my life would be like if I delayed gratification to be so helpful with this. Think about it, man. We are visual creatures. We want what we can see. And if something isn't visible in the real world, you can bypass that limitation by the power of visualization. The trick is to be super detailed. Like when I started this journey and made this channel, it was really tough at first. But every time I got distracted or wanted to waste my time, I visualized how it would look like to have my first 100 subscribers, then my first 1,000 subscribers. I visualized scrolling through your comments and reading your feedback. And that motivated me and kept me strong. It's still not a cakewalk, because let's be real, it's 2024. Everything I want is right at my fingertips, and that's a very powerful temptation to battle with. This culture of instant rewards is one of the reasons why delayed gratification feels so strange to the modern world. You order something online and it shows up at your door the next day. If you feel hungry, Uber Eats has a pizza on the way to you within minutes. I feel like we have made such a huge mistake of allowing convenience to corrupt us so much. The thing is, instant gratification hides behind all that convenience. Why wait when you can have something now? But that's not what develops your character as a better person. You need all the help you can get, and hyper-visualizing was one step. But let me tell you about another amazing technique that I'm sure you've never heard of. It is temptation bundling. This is something that Catherine Milkman, an assistant professor at Wharton University, came up with. Basically, you combine a guilty pleasure with something you don't want to do. So for example, if you really love binge watching TV shows, but find learning a new language too boring, you would watch a film in that particular language and try to note down maybe 30 new words to memorize. Or if you really like listening to podcasts or audiobooks, you would make it a rule that you can only listen to them at the gym. According to Milkman, this technique gives you the benefits on both sides. You get to enjoy instant gratification while also enjoying the benefits that come from good habits over the long run. James Clear, the author of Atomic Habits, even suggests combining temptation bundling with habit stacking. He recommends the following formula. Honestly, brother, you can go so far with just these two techniques. It sounds simple, but the results are very real, especially if you have been suffering from an inability to deny yourself. Like most major life changes, I want to stress that it's not just about following random techniques and tips. This is why so many people fail, even with a perfect strategy. I'm glad you made it this far. However, I want you to be aware that the worst thing you can do is to simply think that these techniques are all that you need. This is because real changes need real effort. Brother, what I have noticed in my life is that true change only occurred when I started to consciously experience life in a new way. If you want to stop giving in to your desires, that means learning to be more mindful every day. You have an amazing mind, it's beautiful and powerful, but it's wasted if you aren't conscious of life and time and the value they have. I feel the reason that so many of us fall into the trap of instant gratification is that all our mental bandwidth is constantly in use. Think about that for a second. The average person in 2024 literally has zero time to exercise their agency. You move from one task or activity to another so quickly, but do you realize that our ancestors never lived like this? There was so much space and time in between activities for silence and reflection, even for the hardest of workers. Their minds were never locked into a system designed to drain them of their attention spans, and that's why staying disciplined was way easier back then. But today, everything is algorithmic, and it ruins how a healthy mind should function. So brother, if you find yourself feeling used up by the modern world and its distractions, whether they be Instagram, TikTok, or even YouTube, I think you would greatly benefit if you switched some of them off. Any kind of distraction that does not directly benefit you in terms of achieving your goals and actually moves you forward does not have to be at the forefront of your mind. And trust me, I know how tough this is to hear. I was in your exact same situation not too long ago. I used to spend every waking hour daydreaming because, honestly, it was my secret coping mechanism. This is something you will discover when you try abstaining from social media and easy pleasure for a few weeks. Those cravings don't exist because they have any value. They exist because they are great at numbing feelings of loneliness, depression, and aimlessness in life. I see people often use social media, video games, and unhealthy habits as a coping mechanism, but it's like applying a bandage after being shot with a sniper rifle. You thought it was helping and didn't go to the hospital. But as a result, these bandages have started to fester and become dangerous. Soon they risk infecting your whole body. When cracks show, you foolishly apply more bandages, more algorithmic coping mechanisms, and more superficial techniques, but all it does is keep you away from true healing. True healing is what you should be searching for, and it only comes from a massive restructuring of your life. Honestly, I am still on this journey myself, and I let myself down all the time. But the beautiful thing is that once you open your eyes to these realities, you can no longer go back to living your old life. I may stumble and fall, but that's all right. I'm aware now of how dangerous instant gratification and mind-numbing algorithms are, and I never want to go back. This is why waking up is such an important process. Every like, every scroll, and every new notification gives us this little hit of dopamine, and we're chasing it like we're in some digital casino. This isn't by accident. All of these distractions were built to be addictive. The infinite scroll, yeah, they didn't invent that to make your life better. They added it so you never stop, so you're always reaching for that next hit.
The algorithms that they've incorporated function on the most powerful way to keep people doing a behavior is intermittent random reward, or random intermittent reward, that you don't know when you're going to hit the jackpots.
You want to be more aware of how modern society and social media are designed to manipulate you every day. It's like playing poker, but not knowing the dealer is stacking the deck against you. Once you realize it, would you ever go back and play with that dealer? Social media is so dangerous in this context because it's designed to keep you hooked and clicking and giving in to your impulses. It's so powerful, it causes people to relapse so often from whatever self-improvement goals they set. Brother, this is why you've got to start taking control of your digital life. Try detoxing for a while, turn off notifications, and put your phone down for a bit. Trust me, the world isn't going to end because you didn't see a cute girl on Instagram. And if you find this to be tough, you can at least start curating your feed brick by brick. Don't just follow anyone or anything. Instead, start being hyper-conscious about what you let into your brain. What I like to do is ask myself 2 questions. Does this add value to my life? And why am I giving this attention? You can come up with your own questions, but what this does is interrupt that slow backsliding that starts to happen within a few days of trying to break free. It's not going to be easy. But brother, I highly encourage you to take back control and start becoming the author of your life again. Remember, learning to control your impulses and delay gratification is a superpower that instantly puts you ahead of so many other people today. If you're in your teens or in your mid to late 20s, I have to tell you, time goes by very quickly, and you don't want to be in your 70s and realize that you spent decades of your life without ever trying to master your mind. I know you might feel scared about making all these changes, but we're on this path together. The process of resetting your brain for success is something I've talked about before. Since we are lifelong learners, it is something that I will continue to learn in the future, and I will continue to share my experiences with you, my friend. Listen, I'm really glad that you're starting to become aware of these things, that you are starting to live more consciously and have more control over yourself, because that's what will really set you free. No more backsliding. We're going to fight the good fight from today on.